Welcome back. To improve your relationship with others, first you have to work on yourself. Here is relationship expert Lisa Lieberman Wang on how you can go from fine to fab. Lisa, so good to see you. Welcome to our show.
Thanks, Dave. I'm happy to be here.
Congrats on the success of this book, #1 bestseller. That's pretty great.
Thank you. I'm excited about it, and it's been helping a lot of people. It makes me even more excited.
Good. Well, let's help some more people right now. Fine to fab. Tell us what that means.
Fine is how I used to feel, which was frustrated, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. And I thought fab, which is fabulous, awesome, beautiful, would be a lot better. So I spent the better part of my life thinking I wasn't enough, wasn't pretty enough, smart enough, rich enough, whatever it was, I wasn't enough. And I ended up doing a lot of bad things to myself, not intentionally, but I settled for less and put myself in situations I didn't need to. And because of it, I became what I thought I was, which was fine.
This book is very empowering. It's not just for women, it's for everybody, right? It's interesting to me because when I hear fine, I think of it as a positive word. But in this particular case, fine is not real good, right?
No, it isn't.
Yeah.
You know, it's everybody's staple. If you understand human behavior, we always go back to familiar. To me, familiar is fine, which is just okay. Like, I'm getting by. How are you doing? Fine. There's no excitement about it. There's no energy associated to it. It's just fine. But what if somebody turned around to you and said, how are you doing? You said, great, or fabulous.
Or fab, yeah.
They'll be like, wow, what are you doing, right?
Right.
But most of us live in fine, unfortunately, and don't even know it. Yeah.
Most of us are not kind enough to ourselves, correct?
No, that would be very true.
Yeah, so let's talk about that for a while. What do most of us do to ourselves? How do we sabotage ourselves, and how do we use this book to get through that?
Well, the book is all about how to overcome self-sabotage. I have 7 secrets to overcoming self-sabotage in the way of, how we think things through, what we're actually saying to ourselves, listening to the stories we tell ourselves. Do you wake up in the morning and say, I'm fabulous, I'm awesome, I'm beautiful, or do you say, oh, another day, or oh my God, I'm just so fat, or I can't believe my hair looks like this, or if I was skinnier, this would be this, or whatever it is. No one's really waking up and saying, I'm amazing, I'm awesome, That's not the vocabulary we have. And we have stories that we're telling ourselves that just aren't true, that if a friend told us the same story about themselves, you'd say, that's not true, why are you saying that?
And then, so to that point, we're talking about relationships, and people are always wondering, how can I fall in love? How can I get someone to love me? But the most important relationship is the one that you have with yourself.
Right.
That's the one you got to work on first.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Challenge is that you find somebody, and if you don't love yourself first, you're going to actually settle for someone that's not even the best one for you. And I'll say this in a way people will understand better. If you don't love yourself, what will happen is somebody comes your way, and maybe they're not everything you want, but you're so happy to have somebody who has an interest in you, you settle. But if you really love who you are and you don't feel like you have to be something you're not, you're going to find someone who loves you just as you are.
On this show, we've spent some time talking about online dating, and people in their personal profiles will lie. They'll show pictures that aren't really themselves, or they'll lie about their age or their weight and that kind of stuff. I mean, the other person is going to find out, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense to start off by being dishonest.
Right. And what it is we have a belief around how we're supposed to represent ourselves, and I have a thing about beliefs. The word belief has a word in the middle of it. It's called a lie. And it's the lies we tell ourselves. It's the lies we tell ourselves we can't prove, but we believe if we do certain things, we're going to get certain results. The truth is, most of the time we don't, and we're doing it just based on expectations from when we grew up, and it's what you're supposed to do. When we stop living in the should, coulds, and woulds, and you start living in the being, we're human beings, not human doings, we start just being who we are, loving ourselves first, who we are, at the point where you're going to show up, and if someone doesn't like you, it doesn't matter.
Right. It's their loss.
It's their loss.
Right. So is there any sort of mantra or anything like that to get us through these days? When we wake up in the morning, it's easy to just say, yeah, I'm going to feel fabulous today, but what do you recommend?
Well, I recommend rituals. I love rituals. And everybody has them, although they don't want to admit it. You get up in the morning, we always get up on a certain side of the bed. You either get up and the first thing you might go to the restroom, you might get up and brush your teeth, maybe some people drink coffee, or whatever it is you do, you have rituals. Well, just like you have rituals for that, you can add additional rituals in, like rituals of saying good things in the morning. So instead of saying, oh, it's another day, say, yay, this is awesome, I get a beautiful day. Or, instead of saying, oh, it's raining out, be excited that the flowers are being watered. I'm serious about this. But say nice things to yourself. I tell all my clients to say 50 things about themselves that are great, like in their most empowering state, what is great about you, and to say 50 things that are great about themselves. So for me, it's like, I'm fabulous, I'm awesome, I'm beautiful, I'm kind, I'm loving, I'm courageous, I'm amazing. I mean, every morning my husband hears it so often he believes it. It's It's really cool.
That's funny. And because you're not just saying them, you're saying them.
No,
I
yes.
watched how you just
Yes.
emoted when you
Yes.
said those.
Yes.
Yeah, so you gotta convince yourself first.
You bet,
right?
you bet. If you cannot convince yourself, you're not going to convince anybody else. You have to be your first raving fan, and I think that's where most people miss it, is they're hoping somebody else likes them to feel good. And the challenge is most people never get the attention they're looking for the way they want it, so they feel unfulfilled, and then they do all these things to hurt themselves. For me, I used food. I didn't feel loved, so I used food. I used to eat over everything. I mean, if you could even imagine, I used to consume upwards of 18,000 calories a day.
Wow.
It's crazy.
That's insane. That's more than Michael Phelps, and that was a lot. Yeah, that's insane.
Well, I kind of found a way to get rid of it.
18,000?
18,000 calories a day,
Wow.
and I used bulimia to get rid of it. And what was interesting about it was 13 years of dis-ease with myself, and to the point where I got myself in very bad relationships with people who were abusive, mentally abusive, which was crazy. And I ended up thinking I deserved it because I wasn't enough. It wasn't until I started loving me as I was, totally imperfect, perfectly imperfect.
Right.
And I love being perfectly imperfect. I'm okay with it, flaws and all. And when you become okay with who you are, not who you think you're supposed to be, you're going to meet so many amazing people who appreciate you and love you for who you are.
And now you're fabulous and awesome and amazing and super terrific. And so is the book.
Yes.
As we say goodbye, if people want to read the book, if they want to get it, how can they do it?
You can get it online. You can get it through Amazon or shop.com or Barnes & Nobles. It's all over the place. At finetofab.com is the site. It's www.finetofab.com. And find me on social media. I love to connect with everybody and look forward to seeing you all again soon.
There it is. Lisa, so great to talk to you, and
Thank
we'll see you soon.
Yeah, thanks.
You got it.
Pleasure.
Of course.